Hello, good afternoon. My name is Ellen Benzine. I'm an account manager with ApplicantStack, and I will be conducting the Ask Me Anything hour this afternoon. And as usual, we still have some people signing in. We're going to give them a minute and then we will start things up. Thank you. All right, it's a couple minutes after the top of the hour. We're going to go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Ellen Benzine. I'm an account manager with ApplicantStack, and I support mostly ApplicantStack products. So I welcome all of you to this afternoon's webinar. The function that we are going to give a brief overview of prior to opening up to questions and answers is that of our documents feature. So let's go ahead and get started. With me this afternoon is Carol Kennedy. She's also an account manager. She's going to be helping out with any questions that you all submit, and we are a good tag team. All right, as mentioned, we are going to be discussing what we call our documents feature in ApplicantStack Recruit. I'm going to define what documents is all about. We'll talk about use cases for the feature, and of course, benefits of documents as well. And then downloadable content. When I was looking at this feature, I just thought that the downloadable content that was appropriate was from our Help Center. So please don't forget that the Help Center is accessible by all ApplicantStack users, and you can access it by clicking the white question mark in the upper right-hand corner, and then from the drop-down, click on Help Center. You can put in your search topic in the bar, and then anything that matches your search will then be triggered. You can access both videos and articles from our Help Center. And then as usual, and as mentioned just a minute ago, after we provide an overview of the documents feature, we'll open it up to your questions. Please go ahead, feel free to submit those questions as the webinar continues, and your questions can be on anything ApplicantStack. I will also add that Lindy from our marketing department just dropped that URL in the chat, so you can go ahead and pick it up there if you want to. All participants and really registrants will get a copy of this webinar sent to them after we close down, and you'll have that link in the email that you receive. All right, documents definition and use case. So the documents function is in ApplicantStack Recruit, and it's used to create personalized documents like offer letters or letters of intent or benefit letters that you send electronically to your candidates. So these documents are personalized, they're tailored to the candidate because the documents feature uses merge codes and merge fields. And another beauty of the documents feature is that it does require an e-signature by the candidate, and ApplicantStack's e-signature functionality does abide all e-signature guidelines. So what you see on the slide is just a little bit of an example of what a document would look like, but I'm going to demo the feature to you as well. Benefits of documents. So, we've been talking about employee branding and what contributes to a positive image of a company. And one of those topics that we've been discussing over the past few Ask Me Anything hours is to personalize correspondence with your candidates. So offer letters obviously need to be personalized. So do know that our documents function can do that. They can tailor and customize correspondence with your candidates. Documents are created from the candidate record. So as mentioned previously before on Ask Me Anything hours, that means that all activity is tracked within ApplicantStack. And again, as mentioned, candidates e-sign an offer letter, for example, and submit it back, and it is then captured within their candidate record. And again, all of this is tracked by ApplicantStack. So if you need to look at any ApplicantStack activity, you can always go under the History tab of the candidate, and you'll see all correspondence, all activity. All right, upcoming events. Feel free to scan the QR codes there. The August 27th Ask Me, I can't believe I'm saying August. Wow. The August 27th Ask Me Anything is on application setup. And what we mean by that is how to configure your initial application process to suit your particular needs and requirements. And then on July 23rd, we will have an onboard webinar, onboard product webinar, and we'll focus in on what the onboard portal looks like to your new hires when they access it. Oh, moving back to upcoming events, you can always register for these events under the announcement section on your ApplicantStack homepage, so feel free to do so there as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into the demonstration of our feature function today, which is again documents. So you should now be seeing my ApplicantStack homepage, and it is going to look different than yours because ApplicantStack is configurable. So from my ApplicantStack homepage, I am going to move to the Library tab up top. And the library is the repository of all of those things that you use repetitively during your recruiting activities. So job templates and questionnaires, your messages, which can be both email and texting, tasks, events, and then you'll see the final option on the blue menu on the left is documents, what we're talking about today. So the typical use case for a document is an offer letter. And again, we are in ApplicantStack Recruit, and you can see I have one document created here. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. And I'm just going to do so by clicking on the title. And this is what a document can look like. So again, documents are personalized and tailored to the candidate. You'll see merge codes are here within the document that include the date, in this case, the offer letter would go out, the candidate name, the physical address of the candidate, and then you can create this text within the offer letter to be anything you want it to be. And again, you can pull in merged information such as the job title, how many vacation days the candidate will get, starting salary, starting date, any of that variable information that typically makes up offer letters. This one obviously, again, has already been created. I do want to note you can brand this with your logo if you want. But let's go ahead and just briefly create a document. So moving to the gray menu up top, to the right of my ApplicantStack screen, you'll see the option for a new document. You would name the document. We're just going to name it test. And you start building your document out. So the first thing that I would want to do is probably include a merge code for the date. And so let's move down to insert merge codes at the bottom of the text screen. And these are all the merge codes you can pull in to personalize your document. So there are job field codes, candidate field codes, application, as you can see. You can even include questionnaires in a document. And then what we're really looking for right now is the general date. So I'm going to pull that in first. And then the next thing you would typically pull in is the candidate name and address. So again, going down to the merge codes, I'm going to find those candidate fields, click on candidate name. You'll see it's been populated as the merge code in the text box. Let's just pull in candidate address. There's address 1. And then the next line would be city, state, and zip. So let's go ahead and do that all at once. Let's find the proper one. There's city and state. And you're probably getting the hang of this, and zip. Okay, let's make this pretty. Add some spaces and a comma in the appropriate spots. And then we're not going to build out this whole thing, but the next thing you would probably bring in as a merge code would be your new hires or your soon to be new hire, hopefully, first name. So again, we're going down to the candidate field codes and we're going to bring in the candidate first name. So that's how you build out a document with merge codes. And you can continue, obviously, creating the text of this. So I have been using the term merge codes, and a merge code pulls in information that has already been captured within your ApplicantStack account, candidate name, address, first name, etc. But we also have the ability to create what we call merge fields. And a merge field is the ability to input information on the fly that's not necessarily captured within the candidate record within ApplicantStack Recruit. So if I move over to Add Merge Field, I've moved over to the right side of my screen. You would name the merge field, and I'm just going to name this one PTO and save it. Okay? And so just like adding merge codes, you would say you will receive, we're going to insert the merge field, okay, of PTO. So again, the difference with or between merge codes and merge fields, codes will pull in information that's in the candidate record. Merge fields, when you create the document, you can fill in on the fly, and I'll show you that in a minute. I'm just going to save this, and you'll notice now if I click on documents, I've got 2 documents in my account, and you can create as many documents as you want. So let's move to the Candidates tab from the library. And the candidate that I'm going to be working with today, and let me open up my filters, is Joseph Kelly. So Joseph Kelly is in the job offer stage. It's time for us to send him an offer letter. So if I click on his record, this is information that you're probably familiar with, information that's already been completed within the candidate record. You'll notice that there is now a document section here, and I already created a document earlier today just to test what I'm about to show you, but I'm going to recreate that offer letter. So I'm in Joseph's record, and you'll notice from the gray menu on the right, I have an option to create a document. If I click that, I have the ability to choose which document that resides in my library I want to send off to Joseph. So we're sending off the new offer letter template. Yes, this is the one I want to send. And once I submit that, here is an example of a merge field. This is information I can input on the fly, and it will then be included in the offer letter in this case. All right, this is what the offer letter will look like to Joseph. So you can see all of this merge code information and merge field, that was that 15 days, information has now been populated. And then once I save this, I have some choices here. I can download it as a PDF, and I can click here to return to the candidate record. So that's what I'm going to do. And you'll notice now that this offer letter has been created at 2:15 East Coast time, which is my time frame. It hasn't been sent, and none of this other information has been populated. So what the next step is, okay, great, this offer letter has been created, let's send it to Joseph. So if I click email, I do have a template already created in my library for this email. It's entitled offer letter. I want to send it immediately. The subject is welcome to ApplicantStack. You can see here's the text of the email that's been populated. And if I scroll down, you'll notice my document, which again is my offer letter, has now been included. And I absolutely want an electronic signature. So I send this off, tells me that it has been successfully sent. Excellent. And now the status of that document has now been updated. You'll notice it's in a pending status, and you'll notice that it was sent actually not even a minute ago. My clock is still saying 2:16. So while all of this is going on, the ApplicantStack user is getting notifications of what is transpiring with this candidate, so that all activity, once again, users are being notified. And then if I move to the history tab within Joseph's candidate record, you'll notice that all of this has been tracked within ApplicantStack. So for example, if you've got a recruiter who happens to be out and you need to access a different ApplicantStack user needs to access Joseph's record and see what the current status is, all of this is housed within ApplicantStack and can be shared among your talent acquisition group. All right, I am now moving to my personal email. This was the email from my earlier test function. This one has just arrived, and I'm pretending I'm Joseph. Welcome, Joseph. He's reading the email. Welcome to our team, etc. Joseph would then click on the link here, and here is his offer letter. So again, the offer letter will be branded a bit. You can brand it within the text of the offer. You'll see all of the information has been populated, and this is what Joseph is receiving. Joseph can sign below and date it and submit it back. So Joseph can also download a signed agreement, or a signed document, I should say. Moving back to Joseph's record, let's just refresh the record, and you can now see that the document not only was sent, but has been signed, and everything's tidy with Joseph. He is ready to join your team. You can move him to ApplicantStack onboarding if you have our onboarding software. That is the overview of the documents functionality. Again, the use case typically is to create offer letters, but any sort of correspondence that you want that would be created using merge codes, or as I had mentioned, merge fields in our case, you can create a document in your library and then send it off. That is the overview of functionality of documents. And what we're going to do now is go ahead and open it up to any questions. Just to take a step back, here's that announcement section where you can register for upcoming product webinars and upcoming Ask Me Anything hours. All right, Carol, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Ellen. That was great. That was a little bit more recent product enhancement that was rolled out. So that was a fantastic overview. Thank you for that.
Sure. All right, do we have any questions yet?
Okay, yeah, first question. As a recruiter, I'm oftentimes going out and searching other systems, Career Builder, Dice, so forth, for resumes. How can I get those back into ApplicantStack?
So there's a couple different ways to do that. You can create a candidate record on your own, but that is a manual process, and you would do that by create candidate. I just moved to the candidates tab, and the first thing you see is create candidate. And what you're doing is you're filling out all this information that the candidate typically would fill out. There are links, and I'm going to move to the jobs tab now. And typically, if you're out there being proactive, searching for individuals, you're searching because you have a job. So an open job. So let's go into the accounting manager opportunity. We've landed on the summary tab, and I'm going to move over to the launch tab. And what you'll see here are what we call manual posting links. Carol, what do you think is the most appropriate one in this case?
I would say maybe the attach resumes from candidates. So if you get an email, if you can get that to yourself via email, you can use the forward email to get that into the system to access the job. I'm thinking that's probably the best route, to get it to yourself via email first.
Yeah.
And then forward it in.
And then going back to the candidates tab, you also have an option here. I'm on the gray menu on the right to upload a resume and upload an email. So if you have captured a resume, you can upload that resume to the job that is the job of interest. And when doing it, that function will create a candidate record. So you could then correspond with that candidate from within ApplicantStack. Uploading an email is very similar in function. If you get an email from somebody, and I know this isn't the question, and the resume, or they have attached a resume, you can upload that email, and that too will create a candidate record. So a little bit of an automated function there as well. Anything else, Carol?
No, I think that covers it pretty well. Next question. I'd like to double check everything before I go live with it. Is there a way to preview what the candidate will see before we launch or post a job?
So I'm wondering, I'm interpreting that question, is you want to create a test candidate and run them through your workflow?
We want to preview the posting before we launch it. So what questions are going to be attached? So if we go to jobs and we go to the questions tab for a job, there is that preview button, which if you want to click on that, I believe that's what that question refers to. What is our candidate seeing?
Yeah, so let's backtrack a minute because I was doing that quickly. So I went to the job in question, moved over to the questions tab as Carol had suggested. And this shows you all questionnaires that are attached to a particular job. And then the preview. And this is what a candidate will see. And again, this is my demo account. So your account is going to look a little different.
Sure. And then we can also go to open job board as well, from either, I believe, the jobs tab or the home page. And then what you can do is click through a job, just pretend that you're an applicant coming in, seeing it for the first time. You can see the job description here. You could click on apply now if you wanted and kind of walk through that process as well.
Yep. So you have a couple different options. For you to review the job on your job board, your public job board, the job does need to be open in order for it to post on the job board. Here's your listing preview though as well, if you're making sure the text is what you want it to look like. So I think we've answered that question.
I think we have it covered.
Okay.
Okay, next question is, we have quite a few individuals involved in our interview process. How can the team best provide feedback on a candidate throughout the process?
So my first reaction would be if we go to, let's just say Joseph Kelly, since he was the one we were discussing earlier, and you've got a team approach, there's a couple different ways that your team can provide feedback on candidates. One of which is using the feedback tab here. So if I click on the feedback tab, a couple options here. If I click on add feedback, this is a free form field and a quick visual on a star rating, 1 to 5. And if multiple people input star ratings, you'll see on the candidate table, it's the aggregate of that, of the star ratings. So if I close this out, your team members can also submit questionnaires. So you can create a questionnaire that resides in your ApplicantStack Recruit library and have your team complete questionnaires. So in my demo account, I've got an interview evaluation form, 2 different types. If you're talking to a candidate and you want to capture content of that telephone screen, you can key this in as you're talking to the candidate as well. Again, these are questionnaires and they'll be part of the candidate record once you complete that information.
Okay, thank you, Ellen. What if there's an email that goes back and forth about that candidate? Where would that be tracked?
An email among team members?
Correct. Or let's say the team emails the candidate and then the candidate responds, or any back and forth.
Yeah, sure. So if you initiate an email within ApplicantStack, again, to a candidate, all history is audited, or I should say tracked. So you can see all correspondence here under the history tab within the candidate record, and then you can filter on what sort of communication you're looking for. So in this case, it could be emails, and you could see all correspondence back and forth. So the key here is to create that initial email from within ApplicantStack, not Outlook or whatever other sort of communication, Google or whatever. Create it within ApplicantStack, and then it's all tracked within ApplicantStack for everybody to see.
Okay. Thank you, Ellen. Couple related questions as far as scheduling interviews. Is there a way to schedule an interview through ApplicantStack?
Absolutely. So again, I'm moving to the candidate tab because you would be scheduling an interview with the candidate. And we are just going to go into Joseph Kelly's record again. And you'll notice on the gray menu on the right, there is an option for schedule event. And by definition in ApplicantStack, an event is something that's date and time stamped. So an event would be an interview, a scheduled phone screen, etc. So if I click on event, you would need to fill in the template. So in this case, whoever your interview team is, you would include them in the event. Carol, look at you. I'm going to include you. And I'm also going to include Faith Bliga. The event name, and let's go ahead and pull in a template. I already have an interview template residing in my Recruit library. Get a little bit of information populated. Continuing down through the event template, this internal note is private. So your ApplicantStack Recruit team would be able to see this note, but the candidate would not. So you could say something here like, drill down a little bit more into Joseph's project management experience, something like that. You would specify an event location. You as an ApplicantStack user can define the time, or you can invite the candidate to select a time. And selecting a time is based on times you input in your user profile. Specify the date of the interview, start time, end time. You have the choice to include the candidate on this. And if you do, the candidate will get an email and can add the interview to his or her calendar. And again, if you choose to invite the candidate, they will not see any internal notes. Continuing through, you can assign questionnaires to your users to complete for the interview. We've mentioned this before. This provides consistent feedback and contributes to your recruiting compliant activities. And then you would go ahead and save it. And the event is sent off to your ApplicantStack users who are interviewing the candidate as well as the candidate.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ellen. It looks like questions are slowing down. So if anyone has one, feel free to submit it. It can be anything ApplicantStack, Recruit, or Onboard. Want to make sure we get all those questions in before we wrap it up today. One last question right now, Ellen. On the onboard side, is there a way to see an overall view of all the tasks in the system, just so I can keep an eye on that and make sure, let's say somebody's starting on Monday, make sure everything's been completed for that individual?
Okay, let's flip to onboarding. But before I do so, that event discussion we just had, when you sign on to ApplicantStack and you are part of an event, it will also show up on your homepage. Okay, so we have been in ApplicantStack Recruit, and I'm going to move to ApplicantStack Onboard. They are integrated products. And so I think the answer to that question would be to move from your homepage or your home tab in ApplicantStack Onboarding to tasks. So this account, my demo account, is not very populated, but you have the ability to open up your filters and you'd be able to see all tasks. And I think that's the best way to answer that question, Carol. Tasks in onboarding are system-wide, so that's your listing of tasks.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Ellen, so thank you. Okay. Couple more questions have come in.
Okay, great.
First question, actually, this will be a future AMA that we have planned coming up. How do you have it set up for references to be emailed to those that an applicant has placed on their application?
Yep. So that is a future Ask Me Anything hour. We've already designated that, I want to say, as a September Ask Me Anything hour. It is a multi-step process. So please know that we can do that. And just as a quick summary, you obviously need to capture reference information that your candidates would provide. So that reference information could be requested during your initial application process. It could be a questionnaire that is sent to a candidate once you have vetted them and you want to check their references. So collect references via a questionnaire. You need a second questionnaire. And the second questionnaire is your reference questionnaire. And I thought I had an example here. Let's flip back to Recruit. Okay, so going to the library and questionnaires. And I thought reference check form. So you need to create a questionnaire that the references are going to receive. And so this is just a very simple example. And then the final thing is you need to email the references, send them the questionnaire, ask them to complete it. So again, that is just the overall summary of the process. I believe there's an excellent Help Center article on automating reference checks. And again, if you need to do this before our AMA, please go ahead and submit a ticket, a technical support ticket, and the appropriate person can work with you on it. I think this is the article on setting up automation with reference checking.
Excellent,
So
thank you.
You can find that in the ApplicantStack Help Center.
And I did just take a peek. That AMA is scheduled for September 24th. So we'll be taking a deeper dive. But in the meantime, that support article should be a great help to you.
Excellent.
All right, next question. Can a master form feed additional forms that a new hire needs to complete? For example, so they don't have to retype their name, address, phone on the onboarding forms.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had that question. Wait, that my response to yes was yes, I've had that question before. And the way I'm interpreting it is Form A information cannot feed into Form B information, but forms can be auto-populated. So if I move to, let's just go to the Hires tab. I'm back in onboarding. And I'm going to click on a hire record under my name. And if I go to my onboarding portal and I view my portal, an example of auto-populating forms is the I-9. So you can see that information has been auto-populated here. But again, and this is information that's been captured in the hire record. But again, information in Form A cannot auto-populate information in Form B.
Right. So my understanding, it has to be a system field.
Yep.
Not another form.
Correct.
Okay, but that should help with duplicate data entry, so they're not having to retype that in.
Absolutely. And then, of course, your errors decrease as well from rekeying information.
Okay, next question. When we select the Do Not Pursue button, after giving the reason, is it possible to see a preview of the template before the email is sent?
Let's see something. I'm in the Recruit library. I'm going to move to Messages. And here's an example of Do Not Pursue overqualified. So again, this is my demo account. So I think that's probably the best place to see the template. Again, in the library.
Let's go to the candidate tab and let's try, if you change a stage to Do Not Pursue for I want to see that pop up that comes up.
Okay.
Let's try that.
All right. So the email that's being triggered here would be the not interested email.
Right. I think we want to see if we can preview what that will look like, and it doesn't look like from here.
No, you'd have to. Yeah, good thought. Good thinking though, Carol. So I think you'd have to preview the email in the library. But if you want to see what it looks like upon receipt and experience the candidate experience, I would suggest creating a test candidate. That would be you, and sending this to a personal email, like your Gmail account or something. And then you'd have the ability to see what your candidates are receiving.
Okay. Next question, is it possible to get a copy of the recording?
Yes.
That should run out via email after we're wrapped up today, so that should be coming your way. We do have a thank you on that last question. Fantastic.
Excellent.
That was helpful.
As we always say, we like thank yous.
Okay. Last question we have. Oh, there's another one. Are there any plans for the email from field to reflect hiring company rather than system code at ApplicantStack.com?
Yeah. So that's another frequently asked question. Unfortunately, the answer is no. All of that information that you see there tracks back to the candidate record. And that's what contributes to the audit trail. So those emails have to stay as is. And if those emails are going into your candidate spam or junk folders, we've had a bit of a discussion on this before. you can ask your candidates to whitelist ApplicantStack. I'm going to move up to the question mark again in the upper right-hand corner. Click on Help Center and input whitelist. And there's an article here that you can look at and review in your leisure. And whitelist simply allows emails to be accepted by the candidate's filtering system. And again, that's how those emails can land in your candidate's inbox as opposed to spam or junk folders. The other thing you can do is add to your job board or specifically your job descriptions so that your candidates can read that information and say, hey, be on the lookout for emails from us. So just another means of sharing with your candidates to check emails, check spam, check junk folders. I hope that all made sense.
Yep, it sure did.
Okay.
I think the last question we have, I'm new to ApplicantStack and I don't see the conditional job offer in the recruit select stage area.
Okay.
They contact ApplicantStack.
Yep. So you must be from Homestead because, and what I'm about to say is specific to Homestead accounts. The conditional job offer is part of your setup, or it should be. Apparently it doesn't sound that way. Please go ahead and submit a technical support ticket on that, and we can add that stage to your recruit flow.
Okay, and that was the last question that we had. So we'll give everyone just a couple more seconds, but I think we are in good shape.
Okay.
We have a follow-up question to that, the field triggering information to be migrated to another system. So I think our support team is going to be able to help you perhaps with that.
Yeah. And again, that's a Homestead specific question. So you do need the conditional job offer stage because that is the trigger stage for candidates from ApplicantStack to move to that other software. So please go ahead and submit a ticket on that and we'll get that set up for you properly.
Okay. And that is all I am seeing for now. So
Okay.
in good shape. So thank you, everyone. Again, those upcoming Ask Me Anythings and webinars are in the announcement section. The reference check process will be discussed on, was it September 24th, I said?
I think so. Uh-huh.
So thanks, everyone. Ellen, anything else?
No, I was just going to say the announcement panel is updated periodically. So go ahead. I mean, when you see that one on automating your reference checks, obviously, please register for it. The other thing I always like to call out is Allie's blog and all sorts of information that she provides on both recruiting and onboarding, and then, general topics associated with talent acquisition, even employer branding, engaging with your candidates and hires. There's just a lot of really good information that she provides. And again, it's all accessible through the link in the announcement section. The other thing I always like to promote once again is how to access our help center, which I've done a couple times, and then our technical support team. Click on Ask a Question, input the information requested in the web form, provide as much detail as possible in the description section, and it gets submitted to technical support and then assigned to the appropriate person. So, no more questions, Carol?
Nothing new. So
Okay.
I think we're in good shape.
All right. Well, I thank all of you for attending this afternoon's Ask Me Anything hour. I hope you found the today's feature on documents beneficial. And again, should you have any questions when we close down this webinar, please feel free to submit a ticket. We always talk about a lot of things, So if you need clarification or if you want to implement a feature we've discussed, please do not hesitate to submit a ticket. We're always happy to help. And on that note, have a wonderful afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.